Hello, sir. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. Hello.
Hi, Professor. Can you hear us?
Yes, give me a few, okay? I'll be with you in a second, okay?
Yes, yes, yes. Great.
Hello, Professor. Okay.
Sure, thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Great.
Hi,
Thank you
Professor.
for, good morning. Thank you for the patience. Um, I'm back here and I think everything is fine. Okay, so are you able to see me?
Yes,
Yeah, we
Prof.
can see you.
Okay,
Everything great.
great. So what happened? I have different accounts with different schools, and for some reason, the other school keeps opening up, and Windsor will not open up, and that was what was going on. So I would have also joined with the link directly, although I didn't have it. I was able to secure that from Sarah. Thank you so much, Sarah. If you're on the line, thank you. That was very helpful. But eventually, I was able to get on as I added Windsor to that account. So if I log in, I have both accounts in there. I don't need to keep logging into separate accounts. All right. Good morning once again. Good afternoon, wherever you are. Once again, pardon me for the lateness. Hopefully, it doesn't happen again. Good. So what are we doing today? Who got the chance to review what we are about to study today? Perfect competition. I learned it doesn't exist. It's a theoretical something. Can we discuss that quickly? What do you know?
We wish that ideal market would exist, but practically it's not possible.
Say that again.
I think we wish the ideal market to exist, but unfortunately it does not exist.
Oh,
We,
okay.
we never have ideal situation. I mean, in the real world, practically there could be some situations that cannot be predicted.
Thank you. That's Martin for you. Thank you. Thank you. Who else? Who else? We are discussing. Who else?
Hi.
What do you think?
Hi, Prof.
Yeah, Rafat, go ahead.
How are you?
Very
Competitive. Let us start with what is meant by competitive market. Dr. Allen actually told this in the first two lectures. It's a market with a big number of sellers and buyers, which is easy to enter and easy to exit with no constraints or something like that. This is what I remember from the first two lecture from Dr. Allen. So this is the competitive market so far for me, and I guess for my colleagues. Actually, to be honest with you, Doctor, and you are trying to put everything in place. The presentation, I go through it. It's all graphics. Really, it's hard to understand the graphics without some notes beside it. As previously, we're putting the description of something or the terminology of something, and we illustrate it with graphics. But graphics only, it was very difficult for me, at least, to go through as previous lectures. Thank you.
okay. If I heard you right, does it mean you don't have the book?
No, we have the book. And also, to be
Great.
honest with you, really, under the pressure of work, for myself, I depend maybe 99% on the presentation.
Okay, that's great. So for a presentation or the PPT, I always say it's a supplementary resources. At a point, I wanted to even lack some of the exams so that you read the test before you can be able to do it. This is an MBA that we are doing. You cannot just depend on a PPT and you think that will be it. You need to read the test. These are all just supplementary resources. So I will urge all of you. This is an MBA. This is not a first degree, and you need to master the materials. So I will plead with you. I know how difficult it is, but once you have paid money to acquire knowledge, I will entreat you. Give yourself some time to at least ensure that what you have paid money for, you are getting it. Okay. A professor can come here, play or do anything. I'm not saying that's what others do, but at the end of the day, it's you. It's you. What are you gaining? So I'm here not to teach, but to point you to where you will be able to get the exact information and knowledge. You know, you cannot teach or provide everything in the textbook within an hour or two online. No, you cannot do that. That's why you have the test. And you need to at least have a schedule that in a week, every day, I will maybe have 2 hours to review the test. And that's how it's supposed to be. Anyway, that's fine. So anybody have something again to say on that? Anyone? Okay, quickly, let me try to also bring this to your attention so that I see a lot of people are correcting it. Some are learning from what I graded the last time with the discussion. I see others, probably they did not read the rubric comments, and they are still doing the same thing. If we are doing discussions and I ask you to do citation and reference, I'm expecting you to do in-test citation and then reference as well. I see about 99% of the class. I see everywhere you get your resources and materials from. I see the site you go to copy and then all those things that you do, and then some will paraphrase it. I see all that. If you do not give us an in-test citation as well as a reference, it means you are telling me that that idea is your own idea. No, it doesn't work like that. This is an MBA. This is not an associate degree or it's first degree. No. So for those who keep on doing that, the last discussion, I made it 0, 0, and 0. If I get to see that, you end up getting penalized. As an MBA student, you should be able to know how to do citation. If I say citation, the in-test citation, and then you should be able to reference it. So you go to some site or a book to get some sort of idea from the book. It is equally good for you to credit the author of the book. You cannot just write everything and then come in and then give it to us like it's yours. Go ahead, Martin, please.
Yeah, Professor, I'm using APA version 7 citations. Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine.
Text citation and references.
That's fine.
Thank
That's
you.
fine.
Thank you very much.
That's
Yeah,
APA.
because there
So
are a
far
couple of
as
formats, and I'm used only with APA. That's why I'm asking.
sure, with 7, I'm fine. Even if you are not with 7 and 6 is very similar, I'm okay. But some are not doing it at all. Meanwhile, you check their resources or the material they provided, it is just exactly as you see it on some other sites. That is plagiarism if you do that. You have to let us know that, hey, I took this and that from this person's idea and I added mine to it. So if I check it and I find out that you are plagiarizing based on what I review, I might end up deducting some points from you. I don't want to sound like very harsh, but I want you to learn how to do that so that eventually you go somewhere, they will see that you have been prepared. You have been prepared, just not that you went through the 2-year course and got the paper and you are holding it, an MBA. No. So some were able to correct it from this discussion. I see that. What is the name? Is Samya here? Okay. Okay. So I see Samya and other students correcting it because it is very, very important. In the United States, you cannot do that. Let's try as much as possible to at least do what is right and is for our own well. Eventually, you start writing, if it's something you're going to be doing here, you'll be doing thesis and you have to also try as much as to cite every material that you have. I also see that a lot of people are citing very old resources. They are using very old and very aged resources. We are not here for that. At least if you are trying to cite a source or reference a source, use a material. I want you to use a current material. I don't want to expect something in 1988. At least I should be able to see something from the 2000 and teens, 16, 15, 17, 18, 19. We have to see how current your information is. Because what you think it's current, probably it's not. So we need to see if somebody has been able to prove something else other than what you are talking about. All right? Does somebody have something to tell us or to share with us?
Can I ask you a favor, doctor, please?
Yes, go ahead, please.
We have two discussions now. One of them, if you don't mind, to put us a reply from your side as you are MBA student, just to be a reference to see what is the lines you are looking for and what is the guidance for us to follow in the next discussions. If it is okay with you,
Okay.
it would be much
Sure.
appreciated.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. I'll do that for you. And this shows that somebody is prepared to learn and somebody is prepared to improve. So I'll do that and I'll give you the structure so that you'll be able to at least follow it. It's not going to be just one day. We all went through, we struggled before we got it. Yes, but little by little, you get there. You make mistakes, you learn, and then you continue. All right. Thank you so much. That's a brilliant idea. All right. Okay, so can we try to roll into today's lecture? I'm having, again, some This thing will not be moving. I don't know why. I don't know why it doesn't want to move. Give me a second. Okay. So sorry for that. So folks, just to let you know, we are in class, all right? Just for you to be aware, we are in class. So whatever you come in here for, that's another thing I wanted to share. You have to make sure that it represents what, if you were to be in class, you would do, all right? You don't sit in class and be drinking and best chested. You can do that. We are in class. So if you think you cannot at least be in a professional attire and then for us to see you, just make sure that your camera is off. All right. Thank you. So for today, we're gonna have a very quick run through with this. I don't want to also spend too much time because our time has been taken away with all these technical issues. So we are dealing with perfect competition. Did I hear somebody saying that this has been taught already?
No, I meant to say that perfect market. This definition given in the first two lecture before. Just
okay.
taking a brief idea about what is the perfect market.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So that is perfect competition. That is what we are dealing with today. And throughout this course and the next 1.5 hours, we are expected to know some characteristics of what we term as perfect market. If you see a perfect market, what makes you see that it's a perfect market? Or how do you identify that, hey, this is perfect market sitting right there. This is Muhammad. When we see him, we see that he's dressed in a certain way. His eyes looks certain ways. He has some features that you're able to identify him with. So we should be able to do what? Have that kind of characteristics of a perfect market. We should be able to just know that. I remember, I think Rafat mentioned that it has a large numbers of sellers and buyers, you know. So we should be able to know what makes a perfect market. That is the characteristics of what? A perfect market. We should also as well show how the demand, okay, how the demand for an individual firm's output is determined by the market equilibrium price. We're going to get there again. Equilibrium price. What is it? Why do we have to even think about that? So the market equilibrium price. All right. We will have to predict how a perfectly competitive firm will respond to changes in market prices. Okay. How would they? A perfectly competitive market. Do they even respond to price changes? Okay. We'll have to be able to know that by the end of this session. We should also be able to use the module of the perfectly competitive firms to determine short-run economic and then normal profits. Okay, how would this happen if you are in this kind of business and you're having this kind of issues in a short run? What happened? How would you run? If you are making this kind of profits, would you still continue? What is the issue? Okay, use the module of the perfectly competitive firm to determine when a firm will shut down or operate at a loss in the short run. All right, so we'll be able to also determine the shape of a perfectly competitive firm short run supply curve using the marginal cost curve. And then finally, derive the long run market supply curve in a perfectly competitive industry under conditions of constant resource costs. Don't tell me you are now moving again. Okay. So these are the topics that we're going to be treating. It has a direct link with the objectives. The objectives is what we just mentioned. So this have a direct link with the objectives. So characteristics of a perfect market. Characteristics of a perfect market. If we say that, what are we trying to say? I heard one from Mohammed. Can somebody also tell us what are some of the characteristics of a perfect market? Are we
Easy to
here?
enter, easy to enter and easy to exit.
Very good. Thank you. It is a very simple, easy to enter without no kind of barriers. You know, you cannot be prevented in some sort of way. So it is very easy to enter and very easy to exit with no stringent budget or barriers and then rules. All right. Go ahead, Martin.
Yeah, I would want to add a large number of buyers and sellers. That will be important as well, because if you have very small market, even if it's even if it's easy to enter and leave, that will not be a perfect market because it will be very limited.
Sure. Thank you so much. So we have large numbers of sellers, large numbers of sellers. All right. And then what again? What again? Oh, can
Maybe
somebody talk?
mobility
Say
of
that again.
resources. Maybe mobility of resources.
Mobility.
Yeah.
Okay.
Similarity of production or goods. That's no variant.
Similarity.
Yeah, no variant, no big variant between seller to seller.
Very
So
good.
that's we have maybe constant characteristic of the goods.
Very good. So similarity. Me and Rafat are selling phones, okay? And our phones have a very similar features. So if you go to him to buy, you might end up buying just the same thing as I'm selling, okay? So price or competition between the two of us become not that much of a problem, because if you go to Rafa to buy, you might get the same thing at the same price with the same conditions. Yes, I might have the same thing as well. So similarity, the standardized aspect of the product. All right. So at the end of the day, in a perfect competitive market, we also do have, go ahead, Martin.
I was wanting to add maybe governmental laws and taxes, they to be low taxes, and governmental laws that are supporting the company, because in some countries we have high taxes, and this cannot make that market perfect. Some countries are with zero or very low taxes.
All right, thank you. So if these are things that will not make it perfect, yes, we understand. We're talking about the characters that make you see it as perfect. And thank you for sharing that idea as well. Okay, so we also have what we term as price takers. So these are the characteristics. We also have what we term as price takers. If we say something is a market is of a price taker, or sellers are price takers, what comes into your mind? Price takers. Price takers.
That seller would accept the offered price for the market. Is it
Very good.
correct?
Very good. Thank you. So every price will be accepted by what? That market. So it means at the end of the day, they have the market have no kind of influence or ability to change the price. They have no influence on the price. I hope somebody is following me. So that is what a price taker means. Firms that take or accept the market price and have no ability to influence that price. Okay, that is what we term as price takers. Good. Now, question 1, I intentionally left this open. We will get there soon. Let's keep going. All right. Now, at the end of the day, we are talking about what the characteristics of a perfect competitive market is, or perfectly competitive market. There are so many buyers. When the number of sellers is very large, then what happened? No single seller can do what? Influence the price. In the other situation where if we get to monopoly, we get to see that, yes, some people are so big, some of the firms are so big that they can just bully every other firms. Okay, but in this situation where we see a lot of sellers, it's very difficult that one single a firm can influence the market or the market price. Therefore, sellers in this market tends to be what we term as what? Price takers. They can sell all what they want, whether it is billions of quantum of items or whatever, at the equilibrium price, where the buyers and the sellers are what? Okay. So, but there is no market at a higher or lower price. They are at the equilibrium price. Okay, so now, firm demand and market equilibrium. I just mentioned equilibrium. So when we talk about marginal revenue, does somebody remember this? Marginal revenue.
Yeah. Yes, doctor.
Can somebody share with us? I intentionally took it off.
It's the change of the total revenues in accordance to the change of quantities. And if we add one more quantity, there will be a change in the total revenue. So this is the marginal total revenue.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. So this marginal revenue is another key concept, okay, for us to understand how each firm is impacted by market condition in a setting of perfect competition. It's a very key concept. If you do understand this, it becomes somehow flexible for you to understand the perfectly competitive market. So the change in a firm's total revenue that results from one unit change, okay, in your output that you produce and sold. Okay, that's what we term as what? A marginal revenue. Now, we do have this on the entire market for a product. And what we know from our supply and demand curve, this is our supply curve with a red. Can we all see my cursor?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you. So this is our supply curve and this is our demand curve. So at a price of 45 being dollars or any currency, the producers will be willing to do what? Also produce 600 quantities, or the sellers will be ready to sell that amount. It means the sellers and the buyers have come to one agreement. They have come to at least agree that this is okay for us. Okay. And that is what we term as the equilibrium. Okay. So the point at which the demand curve and the supply curve meet becomes the equilibrium point. Does somebody have something else? Let's share. Let's share. What do you have? Can somebody say something? So at the end of the day, the equilibrium price is what we have of what? 45, and the equilibrium quantity is what? 600. Great. Now, let's look at what we have next. We do have what? One firm's market for the product, just one firm. So at the end of the day, what do we have here? If the individual firm, okay, want to sell a quantity of one, it can do so at what? The price of 45. That's an individual. Rafat has his own what? His own firm. And he decides to sell a product at 45. Okay? It means he can do that. Okay? So the marginal revenue will also be at what? 45 as the as the total revenue has gone up by what? 45. I hope somebody is following. Now, let's keep going. We also have what we term as average revenue. All these things, we have heard it before, but it's a good buffer for you to understand perfect competitive market. Revenue per unit equal to total revenue divided by the quantity of what? Output produced and sold. That is our average revenue. And at the end of the day, we should know how to do what? Make decisions. We should know how to at least say, at this point in time, this is what we have to do as a company. At this point in time, I feel if we do this and then we budget for the next couple of months or the next 6 months, the company will be running at a marginal profit. This is what you should be able to at least practically do as an MBA scholar. Okay? So, we have a challenge question here, and we are saying that what would the shape of the average revenue curve be in this past example? What would the shape be in this past example?
It would be the same as a price.
It will be the same as price.
Should be parallel with the quantity. So the more quantity, the same price will be.
1 second, Rafat. So sorry for that, guys. So with the previous example, hello? What will be the shape of the average revenue curve in the previous example? That was the question. Would the average revenue be equal to the marginal revenue? Am I here with somebody?
Jihad is raising his hand.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Hi, Professor. I believe that it should be the same shape which we see it, the same. The price will be the same for the same quantity there.
Okay, so it means the marginal is always the same. The total, the average will not do what? Change. Okay, so marginal revenue, that's what drives the averages. This is something I mentioned, I think, last week or last 2 weeks. Don't forget, marginal revenue, marginal values, that's what? They drives the averages. It means at the end of the day, if the marginal is always the same, the average will not change. So that's what we do have here. Price is equivalent to what? Marginal revenue and also average revenue. At the end of the day, price is equivalent to marginal revenue and marginal revenue is equivalent to average revenue. This situation can only happen in what kind of market?
One firm market.
Say that again.
One firm market.
One firm.
Monopoly.
Somebody have another idea?
Monopoly market.
Monopoly market. Price is equivalent to marginal revenue. Marginal revenue is equivalent to average revenue.
It can be stable market.
Say that again.
Stable market.
Stable market. Well, thank you so much for all trying. We are dealing with a perfect competition situation. So perfectly competitive market. This is the identity that you should see. The price is equivalent to the marginal revenue, and marginal revenue is as well equivalent to the average revenue. Let me share the questions with you in a minute, and then we continue. Are you able to see my screen now?
Yes.
Good. So we have 3 questions. We have 3 questions. Which of the following statements does not describe a perfectly competitive market? Is somebody here?
Yes,
Rafat, go ahead.
I believe it's D, price is greater than marginal revenue.
Oh, I think it's B rather.
Saying that does not describe perfectly competitive market. It means that it's false, not true, to be a competitive market.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Rafat. We just looked at something here that is telling us that at the end of the day, price is equivalent to what? Marginal revenue. And marginal revenue is equivalent to what? Average revenue. So if you have a question which says, which of the following statement does not describe a perfectly competitive market? Price is greater than marginal revenue can never. Is somebody following? And please make sure these questions, I intentionally did this. Make sure you look at them. Make sure you think about these questions. You ponder about it. I'm not going to tell you it's going to be on a test, but think about it. A perfectly competitive firm. A perfectly competitive firm. What does that mean? If we say a perfectly competitive firm. Is somebody here?
A can be sell as much output as it want at the
So who was that? That is Jihad.
yes.
Thank you. So a perfectly competitive firm
D, price.
can be,
Sorry,
okay. Say that again. Hello?
I said D, but
Hello, A.
I thought it's a price taker, not price maker. So it's wrong.
Very good. Very good. So that is a good thing. With just one word, I would have thrown somebody away. And this is some of the things you're going to be seeing in my quizzes. I might not tell you to write 100 pages, but you might end up getting confused. So if you know exactly what it is, then you don't have a problem. So very good, you're able to correct yourself, and that shows that you are reading the material. Okay, so it's not a price taker, but maker. Okay, so at the end of the day, Jihad also mentioned that, yes, a perfectly competitive firm can sell as much output as it wants at what? The equilibrium price. So at the equilibrium price, if you remember the scenario I gave, at price 45, the sellers were able to also do what? Produce what? 600 quantities. And that is exactly what this is telling us. That is what we have in a perfectly competitive market. Can we try our hands on the next three questions? We have not gotten there, but can we try our hands on it? A perfect price for a perfectly competitive seller equals what? Because we have Rafat, go ahead. We have just done it some few minutes ago.
Marginal revenue.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, thank you. So that is what?
Marginal revenue divided by price.
Say that again.
Marginal revenue divided by price.
Is that Rafat again?
Jihad.
Oh, Jihad. Okay. So I think you are a little away from that, and that is marginal revenue. If you remember, we're gonna go back again. The same screen that we were looking at before we left, that is the question that we are asking today. Okay, right now, sorry. Price for a perfectly competitive seller equals what? Equals to marginal revenue. We will hold on here and continue our lecture and come back. So Are you able to see my screen now?
Yes, yes, I understood.
So very good. So this is what
Thank
we
you.
were looking at before we left. So the price for a competitive market is equivalent to what? Marginal revenue. Great. Now, let's try to get into operations in the short run. Operations in the short run. So, at what quantity does each individual firm would decide to produce? At what quantity? Okay. At what level do you think that it makes sense, okay, to produce in the short run or to operate in the short run? Okay. This is what I have been saying and I've been preaching about all the time. As an MBA scholar, if you understand these, operations become very easy for you. I've been in operations for close to 15 years as well. It makes it very easy for you to at least make decisions. It makes it easy for you to tweak certain strategies to be able to at least be efficient in your day-to-day running. Okay, that is operations in the short run. Why is this? Okay, great. So, how does a perfectly competitive firm respond to changes in market prices? How? Okay. How does a perfectly competitive market respond to changes in market prices? So, it will make sense for a firm to do what? To keep operating or to keep producing until the costs, okay, of the next unit, which we call the marginal cost, is equal to the revenue from the next unit. Okay, so it makes sense, okay, for me as a producer to continue preparing, producing, or making whatever product it is, okay, until the cost, okay, of the next unit, which is the marginal cost, is equal to what? The next unit from revenue, which is termed as the marginal revenue. So they are telling us that at the end of the day, you see my cursor, right? When the marginal cost crosses the marginal revenue, okay, at that point, okay, it will make sense for a firm to keep producing. But if it goes below that or beyond that, does it make sense? If somebody is here with me? No matter what, every firm will produce at this marginal cost, okay, crossing the marginal revenue. Every firm will produce because it makes sense, okay? This will maximize their profit. Marginal revenue is equivalent to marginal cost. So anything short of this, this quantity will leave additional production undone. Okay, anything, it will leave the additional production undone. At the end of the day, it will be what? Revenue is greater than cost. Okay, so anything beyond this quantity utilizes the production where the revenue is less than cost. Is somebody following me? Okay. So, how does a perfectly competitive market respond to changes in market price or in market prices, in other words? How? What happened in a perfectly competitive market to individual firms when the raw market changes? What happens? Can somebody share an idea with us?
Yes, doctor.
Go ahead.
I think the company should adjust the product according to the market price changes. For example, if the market price change is going up, they will increase their product, then they can maximize the profit. And the opposite, if the market price going down, they should reduce their product or something to avoid any kind of losses or something.
Thank you. So this is a common theory of demand and supply. I think somebody also wanted to say something. Go ahead.
I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I will share it with you to correct me if I'm wrong, doctor. And a perfectly competitive firm, 10 minutes or 15 minutes ago, we said that the companies or the firms will produce what they are a price taker. So in my opinion, what will happen if the price change is shift in the supply curve, not change in the quantity supplied? It will make a shift for the supply curve itself to accommodate this price, and with the condition which we said in the previous slides, that the marginal cost is equal to or less than the average revenue.
Great. Thank you. So at the end of the day, we are talking about they being price takers. Is that not it? But ask yourself, is somebody sitting behind the demand and supply curve? Maybe I've not heard Mohammed today. Maybe Mohammed is behind the supply and demand curve, like a clock. And whenever he feels he can push it to the left side, he does push it to the left side. So these are the forces of the demand and supply in the market. Okay, so as you rightly said, it cannot be that, hey, price falls and the sellers are still selling at the same quantity. No, because in a perfectly competitive market, it is going to be sold at the equilibrium point where supply and demand is coming to agreement, or where the suppliers and the demanders decided to do what? Consumers agree to do what? Purchase the product. So it's not like a clock where somebody is going to shift it, but it's the demand forces, it's the market forces that is going to push both the demand and supply. Guess what? If you think the price went down, okay, from maybe 45 to 35, okay, do you think producers will continue to produce at that price? Go ahead, Mohammed.
I think no. When the price goes down, and the supply will decrease as well. So the producers will start to reduce the product to balance the price first. Once the price goes up, they will increase the product again. So it's a kind of correlationship between production and demand. So
Okay.
so production and demand, and the correlation in correlation with the price. So when the price goes up, the suppliers will try to increase the production to gain more profit. Once the price starts going down, they will try to make more balanced market, more balanced production to the market, to make sure that they are maximizing their profit.
Okay, thank you. So that is the equilibrium price. Thank you for the explanation again. So at the end of the day, like I said earlier on, it is the forces of demand and supply. Okay, it is the forces. It's not anybody who is going to shift it. Just look at what we have today. In the regular market that we see, what phone do you use today? When we take about 10 people in a classroom, do we see about half of them having iPhones? will that cause the iPhone producers to make more phones? Because the demand is chasing the price. So when they come to a point that they see that, oh, at this price, I see the consumers buying it, they produce. That is why in economics, we always say, all things being equal, ceteris paribus, all things being equal, all other things remaining constant. So if they do see that, hey, when we produce 200 pieces and we're able to get consumers to buy it at maybe $20 a piece and it's still moving, they will continue to produce. But what if COVID set in? That is why in economics we say ceteris paribus, all other things remaining constant. So if these natural issues does not set in, the forces of demand and supply is going to determine. Is somebody following? Is somebody following? Okay, so we do have the next one here, and we say, how does a perfectly competitive firm respond to changes in the market price? So the first one, how did I? Wait a second. This thing was not moving. Okay. So now let's try to run quickly into the short run economic and normal profit. Short run economic and normal profit. So with the ability to adjust when you are in the short run, firms will possibly do what? Maximize profit. Okay, because they have the ability to adjust in the short run. They will try to do what? Maximize profit by following what? The marginal revenue, which will equal what? The marginal cost rule. Do you want me to go back? At the end of the day, they will do what? They think they can maximize profit based on what? The revenue, which is going to be equal to what? The cost, both marginal. They will follow that rule and continue to adjust. Okay, so they try to produce, an output up to say the point where the marginal revenue will be equivalent to the marginal cost. So they produce the output up to the point where the marginal revenue will be what? Will be equivalent to the marginal cost. Okay, but how much profit will they get at that point where the marginal revenue is equivalent to marginal cost? Okay, that will depend, okay, that will depend on the relationship between two important items. And that is what we all know in economics. That is price and cost. Okay, so let's try to consider this in our following slides. Okay, so determining short-run economic and profit, determining short-run economic and normal profits for a perfectly competitive firm. Okay, what does these curves tell us? What does these curves tell us? Can somebody give us an explanation? I heard that Rafat was saying that it is very confusing. Yes, go ahead, Rafat.
We have here the curve. The axis is between quantity and cost and revenues. We have the marginal cost, which is the red one, I think. Then we have actual average total cost and average cost.
Average variable cost.
Average variable cost. And the price is the P1 is because it's competitive firm or competitive market. It's line, horizontal line.
Okay, thank you so much, Rafat. At least you are giving us your stake. So with this yellow portion here, it means we are seeing what we term as what? Economic profit. Economic profit. So how do I explain this to you? The firm will produce at where the marginal revenue is equivalent to what? The marginal cost, right? So the individual firm will have economic profits, okay, of this, is it yellow or orange? Rectangular, okay? At the end of the day, the individual firm will have an economic profit, okay? That is where marginal revenue is equivalent to what? Marginal cost. So the average cost for each unit at the level of average total cost, okay? At the level of the average total cost on the same vertical scale, all right? So the revenue for each unit, the revenue for each unit is at what? This price here, price P1 on the vertical scale. So assuming this price P1, I hope everybody sees my cursor, moves from here and comes here. What happens?
I believe loss. The firm will.
What happens?
The firm will encounter negative or loss economic
Thank
profit.
you. So at the end of the day, you are selling at this price and it moves down here. Would you still continue to produce? See, revenue outweighs cost by the vertical distance between the two for each unit sold up to this Q quantity 1. Okay, that is what we have here. So if this is being shifted, okay, if the ATC is, the price is being shifted down, you're going to lose that economic profit. So in the short run, determining economic and the normal profit is so simple. That is when the marginal cost, okay, is equivalent to marginal revenue. Yes, if I'm a producer, I'm going to do what? Produce. But what if, okay, what if the average total cost, okay, is lower or it crosses the average marginal cost? Would you still go ahead to produce? Is somebody with me? You see where we do have the marginal cost crossing the average total cost over here. You see where my cursor is?
Yes.
Okay. Are we still going to produce?
No.
See, this is what I want us to do. We have to be very interactive. It doesn't matter when you say no or yes and it's wrong. I'm not going to catch you. So let's try to talk. It's not going to be Rafat's class. So at the end of the day, if it is below that, you are not going to make any profit. It's not going to help you. So at that point, in the short run, no, We are not doing it. I'm not producing. And that is how you're going to make
Professor,
decisions.
in a different explanation, so when the marginal cost like equals the average total cost, this is the break-even point, right?
Yes.
So whatever we produce above this point is profitable, and whatever we produce below this point is deficit. So we are not.
Depending.
Yes.
Depending.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So I
Go
mean,
ahead.
it will be like wise to stop like production if we are below this point, or producing like more units. I mean,
No, in a short run, if it's only going to cover your fixed cost, you continue to produce. Is somebody following me? You are in business. Okay?
yes.
You renting your property. Every month, whether you produce or not, you're going to pay rent. Is that not it? It's I believe Rafat, right? At the end of the month, whether you get the guys to do the job for you or not, you have to pay them. So if you get a job which is going to pay you maybe about maybe 50% without making that much, would you still take that job?
No.
After all, it's going to help you cover some variable costs. Is somebody following me?
It will cover like fixed cost.
That's right.
Yeah.
It will cover your fixed costs. Even if it's not, it's going to reduce the burden because you still have to do what? Foot the fixed cost. It's for you. You have to pay. So in the long run, you have to make adjustment to do what? To at least prevent that situation. So you have enough time. But in the short run, you are very tight. In the long run, you can plan and speak to your landlord and say, hey, landlord, business is not going well. We need to sit down and adjust the pricing system of my rent. You have to give me some room to be able to make some changes. But in the short run, you need to foot out and you have no option. So far as it's covering that fixed cost, you still have to produce. Is somebody with me? Am I confusing somebody? Great, let's keep going. So what do we term as an economic profit? The level of profit that occurs when total revenue is greater than the total cost. Okay, that is where we have economic profit. Okay, so at the end of the day, if your total revenue is more than your total cost, then you are experiencing or enjoying what we term as what? The economic profit. So now let's keep going. What if the price is lower than P1? That is what I was explaining to you earlier on. What if the price is lower than the P1? Sorry. What if the price is lower than the P1? Okay. And this is what we're going to have. Okay. We're going to have the price moving to P2. And we have this one. Okay. That is a new equilibrium. Okay. Where the marginal cost is equivalent to marginal revenue. Okay. So what if price is instead at P2? What happens? Okay. What happens? Sorry. You know, this is P2. We still have marginal costs being equivalent to marginal revenue. Your average total cost is equivalent to what? the marginal cost, you're still going to do what? Produce. I hope somebody is following what we are doing. Okay.
So
Silence
at this
means-
point, look, sorry.
Go ahead,
So
Rafat.
at this point, P2, this line in the intersection, it means that the marginal revenue equal the average total cost equal the marginal cost, which is mean that I can take the decision to still producing, as long as I am not below the actual average total cost. Is it right?
That's right. That's right. That's where you see all the three meeting at this point. So you still do what? You still continue to produce. So determining short-run economic and profits for a perfectly competitive market is somehow a little bit confusing, but you have to be very focused to be able to at least understand this. And it's only these three that you are looking for, you know, the marginal revenue, the marginal cost, and the average total cost. Sorry, and then the average variable cost. Okay. Let's keep going. So now, P2 is equivalent to the average total cost. You see that here? The price is equivalent to the average total cost. Okay, so the firm will do what? Will produce, because at the end of the day, the MR, which is the marginal revenue at point 2, okay, marginal revenue 2 is equivalent to the what? The marginal cost. I hope somebody is following. So at this quantity 2, there are no economic profits, as the total revenue is greater than what? The total cost. So P, which is the price, okay, is directly at the level of what? The average total cost when maximizing it. So marginal revenue is equivalent to what? Marginal cost at what? At that same quantity. And don't forget, at the end of the day, we economists, we use what we term as the explicit and the implicit costs. Okay, that's what we use, the explicit and implicit cost. That's what we use to measure and create these cost curves. So while there are no economic profits at P2, there still be what? Some sort of accounting profit. Is somebody following me? At P2, when we were at P1, there was economic profit. Yes, we are producing. But at P2, there is still profit, but we call it what? Accounting profit. So this time around, like I said, your fixtures and all those things, you still have to pay. So you got something to do what? Cover it. So you're making an accounting profit. So in an accounting profit, indirectly, we say zero economic profit, but you are still producing because you are making an accounting profit. Is somebody here?
Yes, Prof. So in this point, you mean to say that the economic profit, the total revenue shall equal the implicit and explicit cost, because the economic profit, as we said in the last previous lecture, economic profit is total revenue minus the sum of implicit and explicit cost. However, the accounting profit is still positive because it's total revenue minus implicit only. Not there is no input of explicit in this in the accounting profit.
That's right. That's right. You're correct. You know, so at this point, P2 here, we are not making any economic profit. I hope you can see my cursor. We are not making any economic profit. But again, don't forget, in economics, we use implicit and explicit cost. So over here, we do not see any economic profit, but we have an accounting profit. So it's still what makes sense to produce. Okay, let's our time is moving like something. So short run economic losses and shutting down. At this point, we will see if Rafat will continue to do his business or he will shut down the company. So determining when a perfectly competitive firm will shut down or operate at a loss in a short run. Determining that. So at the end of the day, at what point? Can somebody tell me if the price goes to P3, what happens? If the price goes to P3, what happens?
So the marginal revenue will be lower than marginal cost and average total cost.
Okay.
So the firm is operating in loss.
Okay. So no, they are maximizing profit wherever the marginal revenue is equivalent to the marginal cost. Don't forget that. Okay. So if the price drops to Q3 and still the marginal revenue is equivalent to the marginal cost at Q3, yes, they will still continue to produce.
But in this case, it will be produce and loss because we are below the curve of average total cost.
That's correct. That's correct. But they will still produce. That is the most important thing. Why? Why? Because they are better off producing at that P3 than to shut operation because they have other costs to cover. Am I making myself clear? Am I making myself clear?
Yes, Prof.
Okay, thank you. So that is what we do see here. So you see this ATC, right there, is now above what? The marginal revenue. Okay, so this producer is producing at what? At a loss. Okay. However, in the short run, the firm is creating enough revenue to cover its variable or fixed or the costs it currently can change. The firm should stay in operation. It's very funny, right? The firm will still have to stay in operation, creating revenue above its day-to-day variable costs. Okay, once it is unable to change all costs, it is wise to shut down. Once it's unable to change every or all costs, now it is wise to shut down. But in the interim, you are able to have influence in other areas to be able to pay your variable cost and all other simple things. Okay, you can operate. But once it becomes necessary that at this point, no costs can change, it is wise that, hey, you need to shut down. So now let's keep going. So what if the price is even lower than P3? What if the price is even lower than P3?
Can you put the graph again, please, doctor? They, in my opinion, they will still produce below B3 until it passes the average variable cost. At this point, they cannot produce anymore.
Can somebody counter that? Thank you, Rafat. Thank you so much. Do we all agree with Rafat? Do we all agree with Rafat?
Yes, we do.
Yes,
Yeah.
Professor.
Oh, okay. Rafat is going to lead us into a pit one of these days. Sorry. So thank you so much, Rafat. So the firm will still do what? Maximize. Okay. If it produces at the point, again, when marginal revenue is equivalent to what? Marginal cost, or at Q4, they will still produce. Okay. They will still do what? Produce. So now, determining when a perfectly competitive firm will shut down or operate at a loss in the short run. Okay. So now, what do we have here? The average variable cost is above the marginal revenue cost. The average total cost is above the marginal revenue cost. At price 4 or P4, what happens? See, average
And
total
before the
cost
margin,
is above marginal revenue. Average variable cost is above marginal revenue. But again, marginal cost is equivalent to marginal revenue. So would they still produce? What happens?
in my opinion, they will like stop producing because the average variable cost is higher than before, so they are still operating in loss, and they are like they started like losing like some assets. That's what I can tell.
Thank you, Mohammed. Anybody else? Anybody else? Let's run quick. Let's run quick. So, regardless of what it is, all you have to look at and put your eyes onto is the marginal revenue and the marginal cost. They will still do what? Maximize. They are doing what? Maximizing that. Their profit, they are maximizing it because the marginal revenue is equivalent to the marginal cost. The firm still maximizes its produce. Is somebody here with me? Oh, the class is too quiet today. So at at each unit, produce, okay, at each unit produce cost, the level of the average total cost on the vertical okay, line crosses the marginal cost over here. Each unit produced is going to create revenue at the level of P4, each unit produced, although we see this loss here. But don't forget, each one unit produced is going to create revenue at that price. Okay, so at the end of the day, the firm is still doing what? Maximizing that. So what you have to know is cost outweighs revenue by the vertical distance between the two for each unit sold up to what? Q4. But don't forget, at this point, they are still getting what? Maximizing that. Okay? Is somebody here? Great. So let's keep going. So each day, the firm operates its losses, okay? An additional amount of the distance between the average variable cost and the P4 on the vertical axis multiplied by what? The quantity, okay? The quantity it produces. When this goes beyond it, that is Q4, boom, everybody is out. Okay? Everybody is going to be out. And they will not have time to even waste anymore because there is no what? There is no revenue coming in. So producing is not bringing in enough revenue to even do what? Compensate for the variable cost. Look, we see that. It's not enough. Okay, so the business is better off doing what? Shutting down and incurring only the fixed cost, which it already have to do what? Take care of it anyway. I hope somebody is following me. So, shutdown point. At what time do we say that, oh man, it is enough? The shutdown point. The price below which a firm will choose not to operate in the short run. Numerically, this point occurs when marginal revenue equals marginal cost at the minimum average variable cost. Again, I repeat, at the minimum variable, at the minimum average variable cost. Do we see that? At the minimum average variable cost. They're going to say, yes, now it is enough. Okay, so generally, this point occurs when price or the marginal cost curve intersects the marginal cost curve at the minimum point of the average variable cost curve. Is somebody following? Is somebody here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
Yes,
here
we are here, but it's a little bit confusing, Professor. That's why we are like, I'm silent. I'm
okay.
talking about myself.
So at the end of the day, if you do not understand anything, if you do not understand anything about this shutdown process, you have to know that at the point when the average variable cost is at its very minimum with the marginal revenue, you need to think twice and say, no, it is time for me to do what? It is time for me to get out from this business. Because at that time, what are you doing? Okay? Because the marginal cost that we are dealing with, okay, have to be at the minimum point with the average variable cost. If it's at that point, you say, what the hell am I doing in this business? Why do I have to even continue? You know, so if you did not even catch anything, you have to know that at this point, okay, where the price or marginal revenue intersects the marginal cost curve at the minimum point of the average variable cost, the company will shut down in the short run. Okay, let's continue. So now, determining when a perfectly competitive firm will shut down or operate at a loss. Again, so at price 5, at any market, okay, below that price should cause a firm to do what? To shut down. It will shut down its day-to-day operation. There is no sense. There is no sense, okay, to produce. All right, so let me run quickly to our question here. All right, so in the short run, a perfectly competitive firm calculates the profit maximizing or loss minimizing production output by equating what? Is somebody here?
E, marginal revenue and marginal cost.
Are we all following Mohammed? Are we all following Mohammed?
I think it was Rafat, Professor.
Oh, Rafat, sorry. Sorry.
I agree with him, like D as well.
Oh, you agree with him. So in the short run, a perfectly competitive firm calculates the profit maximizing, okay, production output by always, we have said this several times, MR equivalent to MC, MR equivalent to MC. Please, when you see it, don't get it wrong, please, please. All right, so that is correct. Thank you, Rafat. Now, in a perfectly competitive industry, firms seek to maximize what? What does firms seek to maximize?
Total profit.
Marginal profit.
Rafat, you not talk again. We are more than 3 people here.
Okay, sorry.
If you talk again, I'll give you minus 100.
Alas, I will shut down. I will shut down.
In that case, you struggle before you get that to be able to pass the class. Please, can we talk? Thank you, Rafat. So, in a perfectly competitive industry, firms seek to do what? Maximize the total profit. That is the goal. That is the idea. That is the main focus. I'm not sure because Rafat is a businessman. That's why he's able to every now and then save us. But we all have to at least help to make the class lively. So at the end of the day, that is what a businessman is looking to do. Okay? So the firm will seek to maximize their total profit. Anyway, Let me see what question we do have here. Okay. Now, we have seen calculations, and we're going to see if it's going to be only Mohammed or, Rafat, or who is going to get it. Assuming the Unico Corporation is producing 40 units of output and selling the output in a perfectly competitive market for $5 per unit. Its total fixed cost, 110, and its average variable cost is $4 for each of the 40 units of output. Unico will do what? Unico will do what? Oh, somebody should talk. We have a total fixed cost of 110. Okay, average fixed cost, average variable cost is $4 for each of the 40 units of output. The market price is $5 per unit. What are we saying? Can somebody talk?
I'm just calculating, Professor, just to give us like 10
Oh,
more
sure.
seconds, please.
I'm sorry about that. Go ahead. Sorry.
I think it's C, Professor.
It's C.
Yeah.
Okay. If it is C, we cannot just say it's C though. So if it is C, how did you come about it?
Because we have the fixed cost, we have to divide the fixed cost with, which is 110 divided by 40 units. Okay. And this will give us
110 divided by 40.
Which equals.
Okay.
Is it like equal like 1 second? Let me use my calculator first.
Sure.
Because in this example you are giving the average cost, which is $4. So 110 divided by 40 equals 2.75. 2.75 plus 4.
Okay.
So 6.75. 6.75 minus 5.
Okay.
1.75 multiplied by 40. Yeah, so they are losing $70.
We still did not catch that from your calculation. Did we all get that?
Yes, because Professor, you gave the average variable cost. So the average variable cost is like $4 per unit. Okay. And your 110 is your fixed cost. You will divide the fixed cost by the number of units, which is 2.75. 2.75 plus 4 is 6.75. This is where you need to sell your unit. Okay. And the market price is 5. So 6.75 minus 5 is 1.75 multiplied by 40, which is a total product. This is like $70 loss. So you are selling at.
Thank you. That's good. The answer is C, but we need a better explanation. Can somebody, Rafat, go ahead.
Yes, doctor. We have now the total revenue. Muhammad Yusuf did it right, but in the backward. Yani he take it per piece. Now the total revenue is 40 units multiplied by $5 for each unit. It's 200.
Very good.
I
Very
have
good.
a fixed
Okay.
cost is $100. This is a
Very
fixed.
good.
We have a variable cost. It will cost the firm 40 by 4. It's 160. So
Plus.
the total cost now is 110 plus 160, the variable
That's
and
it.
fixed cost.
That's all that I need. You see, so you just multiply the 4 by 40, you get your figure. You have a fixed cost right there. Okay, so that becomes part of your cost. Okay, now you're selling the product at $5 per unit. You multiply that by your number of units you're going to be selling. Okay, what do you get? 200 minus 270. You're losing $70. Is somebody following? Rafat, go ahead again. Maybe from you, they will understand it.
Again, we have a firm producing 40 units. Each unit is $5. So the first step, we will make the total revenue for this firm, which is 40 units multiplied by $5. It will equal 200. Now we will go for the variable cost to calculate. We have 40 units. Variable cost for each unit is $4. So we have $160 as a variable cost. Now we will sum up the fixed cost plus the variable cost, which will equal 270. So we are encountered a loss of $70, which is the total revenue minus the total cost.
Are we all clear? Folks, if you are not clear, let us know now. You'll be making these calculations, and it's going to be very easy if you know it. If you know that, yes, this is my fixed cost, the fixed cost plus the variable cost become my cost. Now, if I do production, and then at the end of the day, this is my fixed and then variable cost together, and at the end of the day, my production is yielding this profit, then am I running at a loss or profit? As an MBA scholar, these are some of the things. It should come just like that. You might get the answer because it's A or B, but you should be able to demonstrate to somebody that I understand what is going on. Because you might get a job with your certificate, but practically they will put you on the job to perform, but you might not be able to perform. For some reason, somebody will say, oh, I know this guy. He is from Windsor. I believe he's good. We're going to employ him. But you get to the job, you cannot make decisions that will bring prosperity to the company. We need to understand these things. We need to understand these things. Let's continue quickly because it looks like our time is running very fast. So now short run supply curve. A supply curve that represents the short run relationship between price and the quantity supplied. So simple. So if you get this kind of question that what is a short run supply curve, you should be able to right away tell me that short run sorry short run supply curve represent the short run relationship between what? Quantity supplied and your price. It's so simple. Okay. Does anybody have a question up to this time? Sorry. So determining the shape of a perfectly competitive firm's short run supply curve. How do you do that? The first step is to do what? One, like I always say, understanding an individual's firm supply curve. Okay, that is actually the last concept we covered. If you understand that, you would not have issue. And that is going to be a shutdown point. If you understand an individual's firm's supply curve, it is very easy for you to do what? To analyze the entire firms or the entire market. So a firm will not produce, again, everybody put it at the back of your mind. A firm will not produce at a price lower than what? P5. The short run supply curve starts at the minimum average what? Where does it start? Where does the short run supply curve start?
Average variable cost.
Thank you. Right there. If you can see my cursor, right there. Okay. Average variable cost at the minimum average variable cost. That is where the short run supply curve, that's what starts. Let's move through this quickly. I don't want us to also have something uncovered again. So if the price is slightly higher than the price is slightly higher than the shutdown price, say P3, what quantity would the firm produce? Can somebody answer that?
Where the marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue.
Okay, thank you. So the firm maximizes its produce where marginal revenue is equivalent to marginal cost. So the firm will produce at what? The quantity 3. They will produce. Okay. Let's keep going. Sorry. So now, if price over here, P2, okay, slightly higher, what quantity will the firm also produce?
Can I talk or I will be penalized?
No, Rafat. No, Rafat, please. If the price is slightly higher, okay, at P2 or slightly still at P2, okay, what quantity will the firm produce? The firm will still maximize its produce at quantity 2. Is somebody here? They will still do
Professor.
what? Maximize that at quantity 2. They will continue to produce. Rafa, do you have something to add?
Yeah, if you allow me, it will. In the previous slide, they are producing with a loss. And in this situation at P2, they are producing with zero economic profit. There is no loss. There is no profit, economic profit.
Why? Because this one, okay, is below what? This one. Can somebody see that?
Yes, Professor.
Okay, thank you. Now, let's keep going. So what do we have over here? If the price is slightly higher still than P1, what quantity would they produce?
They have to maximize the production to maximize the profit, Professor here.
Very good. They will still maximize that. See, at the price of quantity 1, they will maximize that. So they will produce at that quantity. You know, so they will produce. And at that quantity, you see it drawing down with the equilibrium hitting that over here. And that is what we also have in the curve, which has been joined for you right here. So you take all the points, okay, where you would not produce, which is below the shutdown point, plot the price and the quantity combinations, okay? You plot them in the previous slide. You plot, it goes all the way down, hit this, and then you bring it down, okay? This is our marginal cost, our average total cost and our average variable cost, okay? So for you to be able to do this, you plot them all the way to hit this, and then you bring it down. So you get your quantity at that price, quantity 2, quantity 3, quantity 4, which is equivalent to quantity, which is also in relation to price at 4, okay? So that is how we are going to deal with this. So for the firm at different prices, and you can decide to start to see the firm supplying, okay, at each price and be able to link it to the quantity and then draw your curve right there. Does anybody have a question on this?
All clear, Professor. Thank you. No questions on my side.
All right, thank you, Martin. So we do have the same thing as the previous curve, how to plot them. It's just going all the way. Where it hits that, you bring it down to be able to locate that quantity supplied. Okay, so that is what we do have. Why is this not moving? Okay, and again, we do have the same short run supply curve here. Same short run supply curve here, and you should be able to, in a matter of second, be able to draw this without no issue. So short run supply curve for a perfectly competitive firm, the portion of the marginal cost curve that is at or above the minimum point on the average variable cost is the short run supply curve. Okay, the portion of the marginal cost curve that is at, okay, or above the minimum point of the average variable cost is the short run supply curve. Okay, now let's try to wrap up quickly with the dynamics, which is the market dynamics. Let's try to wrap up with that quickly. So when we say constant cost industry, what does that mean? What comes to mind? Okay, the firm or the industry in which the firm cost structure do not vary with changes in production. It doesn't. Okay, the cost does not vary with the changes in production. It is constant. Any question?
So any example for this kind of production, Professor?
The constant cost industry. Can somebody think of any example? Constant cost industry. If there is a constant cost, it means your materials and everything that you use in production does not change.
May I, Professor, say something?
Yes.
A
Go ahead.
constant cost industry, I believe, is one in which input costs remain constant even if the industry expands or contracts.
Exactly.
This typically occurs in industries where the supply of inputs is highly elastic, meaning that an increase of demand can be met without significant increase in input prices.
Yes,
So
we
I
understand.
believe that
We
yeah,
want.
they. Mhm.
Go ahead. Mohammed is giving us a question that we should give him an example of that industry.
So yeah,
Can
so
I
for
add?
example, I would say agricultural industry as typical example.
Okay,
Like
that's what Martin thinks.
magazines?
Magazines. Okay, let's deal with the agriculture part first, then we move on. Why and what makes the agriculture industry that a constant cost industry? Why? Can somebody explain to us if we want to do that?
Yeah, may I, Professor?
Go ahead.
I believe that in agricultural industries, the demand increases, the supply can also increase without leading to higher prices for inputs of the final product. And similarly, the other way around, if the demand decreases, the industry can contract without a significant decrease in input prices of the final product price.
Thank you for your ideas. Thank you. But we still need a better understanding. You know, I was expecting somebody. Oh, I think Rafat. Land is fixed. Land does not change. If it is 2 acres, it is 2 acres. So we need somebody to give us a better explanation. Rafat, go ahead.
I believe from this discussion, the software industry is example for this, because we have fixed numbers of programmers, for example. They can produce many outputs and still have the fixed cost of these fixed programmers or fixed number of programmers. If I understood what in the discussion right, I believe this example could be true.
Thank you, Rafat. What do you think about the agriculture industry?
Professor, I don't think it's constant, because the more the more you invest, so it's not about the land only, because there are like some other factors, fertilizers, like water supply, some weed control, for example. The more you invest, the more production will get. So I don't think the agriculture example is constant.
Okay, that's Mohammed. He said he doesn't think the agriculture industry it's prudent to this discussion. But I think so. Can somebody tell us something about the agriculture industry? When we say agriculture industry, it is not only one particular area. Can somebody think of anything? Yes, I understand what you are saying. There will be variable costs every now and then.
Yeah, I'm not talking about agriculture industry like one producer that have 2 acres land and that it's producing corn or tomatoes or potatoes or whatever. I'm talking in the industry in general, because here in that land, this year maybe you produce potatoes, next year you made tomatoes. And I'm not talking about one producer and specific land, like limited land. I'm talking as industry, that could be industry for the whole country, for the whole state, for whole union, like for the whole continent, or globally the industry, not particular producer. Because yes, if we are looking on a specific place, we have limitations. The land, maybe producer X or company X have limited land and whatever. But I'm talking as in the industry in general, not specific producers.
Okay. Thank you, Martin. So I do want to share this. there are so many industries where you find constant cost being at par.
Maybe
Whenever,
call centers.
say that again.
Maybe the call centers, because now it's modern company to take a service provider third company that it's a call center providing service, and they have number of employees that are changing projects. So today you can be a customer representative of a telecompany, and in 1 year maybe same company moves you to another project and you're customer representative of uh, other type of company, maybe bank or whatever. So more or
Okay.
less call centers have same cost, because they have people, they educate them, and they do basic stuff to help people that are calling them and provide specific information.
All right. Thank you. So I don't want us to limit ourselves to one or two industries, but I want you to look at it in a broad level where it can have an effect in several industries. All you need to know is the change that comes in production does not affect the cost structure. I have a school. I have one room that I have created for a school. And that room, I pay $20 a month. But I'm able to train as much people as I can by using the internet. Does it affect my cost? Windsor University has created this platform. Probably they spend maybe some $20 on onboarding maybe up to 500 students on Microsoft. If I decide to continue using Microsoft as warden at Windsor University, do we incur extra cost if that is the only thing that we are dealing with? So the constant cost industry it can be found in so many areas, just that I don't want to pinpoint because there is several limitations in certain areas. Okay, as Rafat mentioned, in the software industry, there might be limitations in there as well. But you look at the constant aspect of it. Is it something that changes over time? Is it something that changes every now and then? To make your decision. Yes, in agriculture, you might find that. You might find that in several industries. Okay, so that is what I have to say on that. Let's try to run this quickly. We have some few slides. So a supply curve that represents the long run relationship between price and quantity supplied is the long run supply curve. So how do we identify this? We have to try to derive the long run supply curve. That is within a constant cost industry, using what we know about the cost curve and looking at what? The changing market conditions. Like I said, there might be so many limitations, so many conditions that can cause a change. Okay, so the long run supply curve is a curve that represents the long run relationship between the price and the quantity supplied. The demand increases. The demand increases. Can we have somebody explain the graph on this for us? if the demand or if the market demand increases, what happens to the firm's ability to supply in the long run? We have just some 2-3 minutes. We have spent our time. I have also a meeting at 10:30. I have to quickly run up. Can somebody help us?
So the question is, if the demand increases, Professor?
If the market demand increases, what happens to the firm's ability to supply in the long run?
So the demand curve will shift to the right. The firms will try to adjust to the new demand, increase the production as long as the price is increasing.
Okay, thank you. So what we see in the short run here is in the short run, we get what? Economic profit is generated, okay, as price increases, right? That is what we experience, okay? But at the end of the day, what do we see in the long run? Okay, so as price increases, new firms, that's what? Enter the market. That is going to do what? At the end of the day, drive the price down to the original amount. Am I making sense to somebody? So you have to note that quantity that increased at the Q3, you don't have that. The Q2, okay? As more firms are producing now, will cause a change. Okay? If there is an increase in the quantity, when the price went up, what happens? The forces of demand and supply set in. People started entering that same venture. In your country where you find yourself, there might be some business that spark up within a short time. You see 2-3 people doing, they find out that the business is booming. Within a short couple of months, you see other entrants. Is that not what we see? Is that not what we see? So when we look at this graph, you see a shift, okay? You see the shift. One price, P1 was equivalent to this. The P2 will also cause, when P1, P2, okay, will increase the quantity. P1, when the price was at this price, the quantity was at P3, okay? When the price went up, okay, move more entrant into this, the price, the quantity is also going to go to what? Q2. Is that Q2 I see? Is somebody following? When the price is at P2, this is the quantity that is being produced. When the price is being lowered, this is what we got. Okay. So now, if the market demand decreases, what happens to the firm's ability to supply in the long run? Can somebody help us?
Reduce the production on the long run.
Reduce the production in the long run?
So
Is somebody with us?
If the demand decreases, the production will decrease as well. in order to make some balance in the price.
So in the short run, this is what we see, right? In the short run, we are generating what? Economic loss. All right. So as price gets what? Decreased. Okay. So eventually we will put in certain measures to do what? To reduce production. That is every sensible businessman. That's what you're going to do. Okay. Now let's look at the last slide. And that's losses incentivized exits with the price returns. So now, at the end of the day, as price decreases, some firms will do what? Will decide to bow out of the market. Because why is the price keep going down? Do I still have to operate? Do I still have to incur all this cost? No, they will do what? Try to bow out. Okay, so it is going to do what? When that happens, what is going to happen? If the price starts decreasing and some firms try to exit the market, what happens? Is somebody here?
Can I share with you?
Yeah, go ahead.
If the market price is decreasing and companies getting out, so it will make equilibrium again with the existing.
Bingo.
Yes.
Thank you, Rafat. So price started decreasing. Some people were so afraid. They were losing so much. They started backing out of the market. So at the end of the day, those who left, they created a vacuum, okay, again, in the market. So now you tend to see that there will be fewer goods being chased by price. So price is going to do what? Rise again back to the equilibrium point. Am I making sense? Okay. So at the end of the day, in the long run, the market has the ability to supply any quantity at the price or at the current price. That is what we have. In the long run, they have the ability at any current at the current price, they are able to supply any quantity. It will just take the entry and exit to decrease the quantity, you know, in the long run. So we have two other industry types. That is the increasing cost industry. The increasing cost industry. That is long run supply curve slopes upward. And then the cost of production rises with expanded output. Then we have the decreasing cost industry. And what happens with that too? The long run supply curve slopes upward, and then the cost of production falls within expanded output. So this is where I'm going to leave us today. I don't want those who want to go have too much time to go back and then prepare, and I need to also get ready for some meeting that I have to get on to. So this is what we have, and I'm not sure if anybody have a question. There is something you need me to explain, or there is something you need to share before we leave. Please, those who have not been checking the portal, please check the portal, because I have uploaded all the exercises and the assignment and everything that we'll be doing, and it should be on the portal. The grading structure, I'm not sure if you were shared, it was shared with you earlier on, but I'm trying to make it more prudent so that we all not miss anything. So I have made assignments, discussions, and quizzes, 140 points. Okay, assignments, discussions, and then quizzes, 140 points. And then your midterm is going to be 60 points. Then we will have a final project, which will be 30 points. And then the final exam will be 100 points, making 300 points at the end of the year. All right. So I see a lot of people are doing very well. Those who took the exams earlier on did very well. And I appreciate that. Please don't underrate the questions, thinking that it's multiple choice. Because you go in, you think you can just choose anything, and then you might pass, you might lose. So start it now. Make sure you review before you take the exams. It is not difficult if you have done it, you have done your review, and then you've taken the exams. I see a lot of people making 98%, which is a great thing. And at least we are progressing little by little. We'll get there. I see some making above average, which is okay. But let's try to tighten our seatbelt to get better grades so that at the end of the day, it will also look good on paper. Do we have any question before we close the session for today?
Professor, may I ask something? When I go in Moodle in grades section, I see that for the course we have over 1,000. I think it's a mistake because some of the subsections actually are not any assignments, or I'm not sure why I can see that, but I see over 1,000 points and I see too many
Yes.
some things that actually cannot be even open, some of them.
Yes, I see that. Like I said, I'm in the process of trying to correct almost everything so that we all enjoy. For
Great.
the last quiz, I think, is it quiz 4 or assignment 4 or something like that? I put in a quiz for us to take care of it, and other people are doing very well. I've seen it. We'll do that. So I'll go in step by step. I'll correct everything, and then it will be standard. You should have 300 points at the end of the year if you get 100% throughout. Okay, so
Great.
your points should be 300 points. I'll correct it. Okay.
Thank you very much, Professor. Because I got scared, I opened grades and I see hundreds of things, and actually I see for one or two of them that were graded. One was the discussion board and one first assignment, and I say, how for a couple of weeks I can collect 1,000 of points, even not having all of them that are 1,200 or something like that. I say maybe there are some mistakes.
Yeah, I'll
Or
correct
maybe
it.
I'm doing something wrong.
Sure. I got that. Thank you so much. Mohammed, go ahead, please. And then we have Rafat.
Yes, Professor. Thank you so much for the rich lecture today. First, I want to apologize to my colleagues in the class that my camera was turned on by mistake.
It's okay.
It was 6 a.m. in the morning here, so it was unconscious camera turned on. Number two, so I got your note yesterday.
That's your private note.
Okay.
Yes,
sounds
everybody.
good. I don't see my assignment graded. That's why I'm confused.
You don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see it graded and
Oh, okay.
model.
Sure, you will see. Don't worry. As soon as it's released, you see it.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good. Thanks, Professor.
No, that's fine. I marked it already. It's going to mark by itself automatically, but it has not been released. As soon as it's released, you will see it. Okay. Rafat, please go ahead. I have just
Yes,
some
Professor.
few minutes.
I have two issues in 10 seconds. First issue, that long time ago, we finished assignment number 3, and it's not graded by Dr. Alan or Dr. Atiyah. Dr. Malakatay. So I wonder it will be graded or it will be removed. This is number one.
No.
Number two, assignment 4, I have a confusion. I download assignment 4, still the same problem. But while ago, I noticed that below assignment 4, there's quiz 4. So which is follow? Yani, is
Yes.
assignment 4 still valid, or we will go for quiz 4 and assignment 4 is
No.
not valid?
Yes. Thank you.
Doctor. Thank you.
So for the quiz 3, for the assignment 3, I haven't gotten the chance to look at it to grade it, but I'll grade it for you. Okay, so just keep that in mind. For assignment 4, we receive a lot of issues. People were complaining that they cannot access it. They cannot access it, and they're having issues. So we voted here last week for it to be replaced. I replaced it with a new assignment. So you go into the system, you should see new assignment number 4. So the quiz, the assignment number 4, I have put in up a new assignment. When you do that, that's it. There are 2 people who submitted the assignment 4. It's up to you to either write this new assignment or just hold on to yours and I'll grade it for you. If you decide to write this one or take this new exam, then the new grade that you get here is going to be the grade in your grade book.
One more thing, Doctor, if your generous can be delivered to us, make it more than one attempt, it would be much appreciated.
For all quiz, it's only 1 attempt. Homeworks is 2 attempts. Yes.
Professor, to add to like Rafat's point, so there is like assignment 4, new assignment 4, and there is quiz 4. So are we still have to take the quiz 4 as well?
No, check it well. The new assignment 4 is what you should see as quiz 4.
Okay, I'll double check. Thank you.
All right. Let me see something here quickly. I hope you can all see my quiz. My screen, right? This is what we are referring to. It is only 2. This is the old assignment, and this is the new assignment. There is no any quiz anywhere again.
I believe Muhammad Yusuf is referring to quiz 4 in week 8.
Oh, okay. That is different. Week 8 is different. Week 8 is different. Okay. So we are dealing with the quiz that had so many issues that we had to change over here. So guys, I need to leave. So thank you so much for once again making today's class a wonderful one and putting yourself together to come and share your ideas. Please continue to monitor the platform. If there is anything, I'll send it via the platform as well as the WhatsApp platform. All right. Thank you so much. If you do have any question, please don't hesitate to send me a text via the WhatsApp platform. Once again, thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor.
Thank you.
Professor, bye.
And have a good one. Okay.
Have a good one.
Have a great rest of the day too.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. And bye for now.